Let's talk Nip. Nip. Pop the chat out real quick. What's up, Superior? I don't know how many people we're gonna get tonight, man. This is really gonna be a short, kind of like a little emergency stream surrounding our guy Nipsey Hussle. But how you been doing? What's going on with you? Yeah, this is just because of what happened with Nipsey, man. This wasn't planned. You know what I'm saying? This is one of them things where I figure I'll holler at y'all because this is man, it's crazy, man. It's so crazy. I think I got something rolling in my beard. There we go. It's just wild, man. It's so crazy just thinking about it. If you win, man, you win. Let me hear from you, cause I was keeping up with it moment by moment yesterday when it happened, and my homie is the one. He was like, "Man, you should really get your thoughts out on it because I was literally sitting, I was literally sitting on PlayStation, dude. I was sitting on PlayStation with my homie, really like my brother for like 10 years, man, and we was just talking about serious shit, like serious stuff going on in the world, our families, all this type of stuff. And this is what I mean by like your music touches people, right? So I'm keeping up with this moment by moment because first when the first reports came out, they were saying he was involved in the shooting, but they didn't know if, you know what I'm saying, what his involvement was. So I was like, man, hold on. So I keep, every couple of minutes I'm refreshing the internet to see what was going down. So when they finally said he was fatally shot, I just said to myself, because like I'm on PlayStation, I had my mic on, and I just kind of said to myself, like, man, they done killed Nipsey. And my homeboy was like, Nipsey Hussle? I was like, bro, they killed Nipsey. He said, nah, man, not Nipsey. And I have never asked him if he even listened to Nipsey Hussle or none of that, right? And I said, bro, they killed Nipsey. He was like, man, not Nipsey Hussle. His son, his 10, no, I'm sorry, his 13-year-old son was like, who's Nipsey Hussle? And he said, I listened to his song in the car, Blue Laces, and he played it for him. That right there is what I mean by like your music touching people and people passing your music down to the next generation when you really about some real stuff with your music. Now his son is going to know about Blue Laces and know about Nipsey and get into his music. So to me, it was just crazy how all that played out. No, I was not superior. I was not in the military. I was never in the military. I know a lot of people who have been or is in the military though. So what I really wanted to talk about was the 4 reasons why Nipsey kind of got killed. There's been a lot of conspiracy stuff, right? Like, there's been a lot of conspiracy stuff coming out, and with me, when it comes down to conspiracy, y'all know I have no problem talking about a conspiracy whatsoever. We kind of do it on here almost every stream. Something crazy that we gonna talk about, right? Not really crazy, but you know what I mean. Crazy to some people. But the thing I've learned about conspiracies is most of them you have to give time for them to rear their ugly head. And what I mean by that is he just passed. We don't really know a whole lot of information. I'm hearing the dude approached on foot, let off shots, ran on foot, and went to a car that was waiting on him. Now, that seems like a premeditated hit to me. If that is true, that's a premeditated hit. Basically, he planned on rolling up and having an escape route. So that means that was planned to happen, right? So I'm going to talk about what I want to do is kind of like the why and the why not with 3 of the conspiracies I've been hearing about why Nipsey was taken out, right? I'm going to touch on one that was just mentioned, which is the Dr. Sebi situation. If you watched his Breakfast Club interview, he talked about doing a documentary on Dr. Sebi. He mentioned it in his Victory Lap album. Uh, a post human album. Anyways, let me get this one out. All right, so I'm gonna go with the why not with the Dr. Selby situation. Why not he wasn't killed? Why he wouldn't have been killed for that, right? Dr. Selby is not an ancient figure that you have to dig very, very deep to find out about. Okay, he's mainly known for some stuff in the '80s and going into the '90s. We have video footage. He's ran clinics. He's done interviews. He's done all these things. All this information on Dr. Selby is out there, right? So why would they kill Nipsey over the documentary of that situation? Well, you would probably think that wouldn't really be the case for him to die because anyone who wants to find out about Dr. Selby can look up Dr. Selby. In fact, his daughter is continuing his legacy, right? Now, I'm going to give you a why they may have killed him over that. Nipsey's plan for the documentary wasn't based around Dr. Selby's life, but based around how he won that court hearing where he was being charged for being a hack, like a hack doctor, for practicing medicine without a license, which is something that they try to do. Then his plan was to focus on the court case itself. Like he wanted to do the documentary on the court case itself, right? Showing how he won his court case because of the claims he made that he had naturally cured 13 cases of AIDS and I think a few cases of cancer naturally. You get what I'm saying? Naturally. So that could be a why they may have done it. Because if it was shows that Dr. Selby was true, then we have people like Big Pharma. You know what I mean? We have we even have state and government with vaccines, which that's a hot topic. So if there's a doctor out there that's showing that you can almost cure anything naturally, that may get the attention to where you taking away from big pharmaceutical companies money, and that would make you a target. I don't really think it's a prank, but sure we want to call it April's Fools. Uh, I mean, I wish probably a lot of people wish it was a prank, like for real, but it's not a prank. There's a lot of people saying, man, I really wish this was an April Fool's joke. And personally, I think a lot of people really do wish it was an April Fool's joke. Anyways, I'm going to get on to the next reason. Some people talked about how he was buying up. I know, right? It wasn't April then. Uh they talked about him buying up property, right? And he's been on that for a while. Stuff like that. So why would why wouldn't he die? Like why wouldn't they really kill him over that? From what I've seen, he bought quite a few, about 5 6 businesses, turned some to restaurants, clothing centers, not clothing center, but like a clothing store. He did some things for some schools, basketball hoops, stuff like that, rec centers. He was putting into the community, right? I don't see him being killed for that because of how small it was at the moment, right? Now, let's say if he would have bubbled out to where he start owning apartment complexes, you know what I'm saying? Projects. Say he bubbled out to that, right? Then I could probably see him being a target because if you don't know, gentrification is a technique used by realtors to buy up property very, very cheap. So the way it goes is you have an area mainly full of minorities and poors, people who are poor, and the property value, because most of all businesses move out of those areas, so it's hard for people to make wages. It becomes very, 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 very home infested. Homeless infested. I'm sorry, homeless infested. So the property value comes very, very low. So then realtors come in, they buy up the properties, abandoned houses, all types of stuff. They buy it all up at like dirt cheap prices. So once they do that, they start fixing it up and they start charging a shit ton of rent, right? Well, what happens is people start getting pushed out because of the fact that rent is becoming so high. It's getting really, really high. So people can't afford to live in these places. They can't afford to stay there. They start getting pushed out. They start buying more and more buildings. And then they start using the police to enforce and push away people they don't want it in the neighborhoods. So then they buy that area up, and that's how you like end up with a gentrified area. If Nipsey would have been buying a lot of property up, and like I said, if he would have got into apartment complexes, projects, stuff like that, and start owning all that, then I could definitely see him being a target for that. but it wasn't really all that big. You know what I'm saying? He was giving back to the community in a good way, but it was still in a smaller phase. All right, so we went through gentrification, conspiracy. We went through the doctor, Selby, conspiracy. Now let's get to the main one, which this is the one that I lean on. I really don't lean on the other two, but the one that I lean on is Nipsey was working very, very hard to unite the gangs there in Watts. I mean, very, very hard. If you watched his moves, saw who he did features with, like YG, which is humongous blood, like huge blood. He was working really, really hard to connect the gangs and put into the gang violence within his community as a whole. I'm talking about sitting down at the table with so many gang members' heads. This is the one that I lean on. Because y'all know how I feel about unity and unity within people and how they try to keep that broken up. Man, I'm talking about, like, if you watch some of his interviews, he's talking about other gang members coming together with their music. He talks about a whole list of stuff of just ending gang violence. Hey, KC, what's going on, man? We live. Yes, we are, sir. We live. I didn't expect to see you in here, man, but we are definitely live. Yes, he was supposed to be sitting down with LAPD, talk about gang violence, ways to try to end it. This is the one that I lean on right now because unity is the one thing that the powers at be do not want. Oh yeah, he used to play ball when they were younger with J Rock. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has features with Kendrick Lamar on his album. Like, to me, this is the one that I lean on because unity, man, unity definitely gets you killed. And we've seen that a lot throughout history. A lot. It definitely gets you killed. And it's a bad feeling because of just what he was trying to do. So the fourth one that I wanted to bring up was, I call it some people call it the street mentality. I call it the slave mentality. We get a lot of people don't understand that when you have a condition made, some people don't want that condition to change. So almost everybody knows about Harriet Tubman and how she, used to take slaves to freedom. Almost everyone who knows this also knows about how many slaves that she had to shoot who tried to run back so they wouldn't mess up the operation. There are mental slaves out there in these hoods who don't want things to change. And I'm being dead serious. There's people out here who would sabotage, take a good man's life because they don't want anything to change. And I'm being, like, dead serious. You would be like, well, why wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Why would they want to stay in that's not how their mind works. Their mind isn't, they're not seeing the bigger picture. Some people don't even see an hour ahead in their times. So this is another one that I lean on. I watched a lot of gang documentaries, and I mean a lot of them. Very short-sighted, very institutionalized. Like for real, it's what they do when you're in a situation. People look, man. People who don't have foresight, people who can't see a future, they only live in minute by minute, hour by hour. That's their life. And when you see a man preaching about a future that you can't see, you thinking that might mess up your whole thing. So you out some. You out some. Because what you got going, let's say this shooter sells dope, right? Let's say he only making $500 a week. If Nipsey starts changing the neighborhood to where dope selling is not going to be tolerated, not going to be allowed, he messing up that man's hustle, or even higher up from that. People will out you for that. It's crazy, especially if you a person who had foresight. You thinking in your mind like, how is this a bad idea for a better community? You know, you thinking about your kids, you thinking about all these different things that's going to make it better. This person don't see none of that. They thinking how they going to re-up, get some money, make it through the day. Not happening, man. That's the fourth one that I lean on. I lean on that because I've seen that firsthand. And it's dumb when you think about it. But let me say this, dumb isn't dumb to a dumb nigga. All right? Straight up. Oh, man, Casey, you right, man. They'll fight you. They'll hate you. They won't. They can't stand to look at you. All they doing is they people with no vision people with no vision are really the reason why we are in the human state that we're in right now. People with no vision are really the reason why. So, I mean, I want to get on here and share those four reasons because we've seen this story over and over and over again. We have seen this story happen. Because you know what would have happened if Nipsey would have got his money and left and never came back to his hood, never done nothing for the hood, they would have talked bad about him all over social medias. They would have just talked bad about him. Oh, he don't come out here. He don't care about us. Y'all wonder why men with vision leave and don't come back. Nipsey should have been protected. That was his hood. That was his place of business. He should have been protected. And I mean, like, I understand you trying to be a man of the people, but at times you just can't let every type of people get too close to you. You feel me? You can't let everyone come within close proximity of you. You need some people out there watching out for you. Like that dude don't look right. You know what I'm saying? But when you a man of the people, you want to be around the people. But he really should have been protected. You're right. They would have called him all types of sellouts and oh Nipsey don't care about us. Oh he almost won a Grammy. You know what I'm saying? Nah, fam. I mean, we're losing a lot of people in this culture. But it's like that J. Cole line said, man, in Middle Child. The real ones is dying, the fake ones is lit. Straight up. It's crazy. And that's so true. It could have been someone Nipsey knew. I mean, it could have been. I'm not saying I'm not saying it's completely, like that person wasn't close to Nipsey, but like I said, to me, my thing is if you really close to Nipsey, you probably shared his vision. So I don't see that being the case. Like I don't see it being the case. I don't see that being the case at all. If you That's the thing about Nipsey. Nipsey had people around him who saw his vision. When other people see your vision with you, it's a totally them people help push you. Could have been a business rival, like I said, man. I feel like he had cameras out in front of his stores. I mean, there's traffic cams everywhere. It's not like they can't just pull it up and see where the car went. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they can't find out. But that's the whole point of giving it some time. We'll let that conspiracy, you know what I'm saying? Like, we'll let that conspiracy give conspiracies always rear their ugly head when you give them time to play out. When they play out, when the information ain't matching up, you know what I'm saying? Let the LAPD say, "Oh, we ain't got no traffic cams in that area." Let some stuff like that come out. Then everybody gonna be looking sideways, like, really? Get out of here. Get out of here. Let some information like that fly out on some BS. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm not gonna play no Nipsey. Oh, he was been getting this credit. I'm gonna let y'all hear the song that I was introduced to from Nipsey. It was 2010. My homeboy, and some of y'all have probably figured out now from all the stories. I talk about music in my real life and real relationships. Like that's how much I love hip hop and love getting into it. And he's the one who put me up on Nipsey. That was like 2010. Like I think I was close to Des Moines, Iowa. I think it was Des Moines, Iowa. I was working, and I met up with him because he was in the Air Force, and he was just putting me up on. That's the same time I learned about Big Crit. You know what I'm saying? Like he was putting me up on all these artists I had never heard about. But this is the one I heard that made me a fan. That is the song that introduced me to Nipsey Hussle, and I've been a fan ever since. That was the one that introduced me. I was like, man, who is this dude with this West Coast like embodying the West Coast feel, man. And he has always done that. Roll the Windows Up is the name of the full song. You're 92 years old. How old are you now? If you're as old as you are, what is the first? No, what in your opinion is the best human invention ever? If you were that old, Roll the Windows Up. That's the one that put me up on him, man, and I've been a fan ever since, for real. But anyway, guys, this was just a uh short little stream I wanted to do with you guys to talk about this. The Cardi skits are coming. I kind of got put out of the mood when I heard about this news. She just didn't seem important um, after it, but I'm gonna still do it because she needs to be exposed as well as one of them fake ones that's lit. While we losing, while we losing real ones, we have fake people who's lit. So it's the blanket. There was nothing not to love about Nipsey. I implore you to get into his interviews. He he um he suggested some very good books, some books I've read myself. And like I said, that was the type of stuff that made me connect more with Nipsey outside of the music was that. You know what I'm saying? When he's suggesting you should read books that I personally read and love myself, I'm like, okay, he's about, you know what I'm saying? Like he's about self-education, self-learning, shit like that. So, you know, like I said, like J. Cole said, man, the real ones is dying, man. The fake ones is lit, and that I really, man, we don't need to be losing nobody else. Nobody good like that. Anyway, that's my time to go. I will holler at you guys later, man. Hello? What's up?